In this MAPS video tutorial, I'm going to go through an acronym that acts as a short checklist for you to complete before commencing a recorded video interview. In order to remember the topics easily, we have created a BESAFE or BESAFE shooting system. First, B is for background. When setting up your interview, make sure you think about what is appearing in the background to your talent and make sure that you're conducting the interview in the correct context for the story. So, if you're interviewing a scientist, put them in a lab. If they're an academic, put them in their office, a classroom, or the library. If it's a rugby player that you're interviewing, put them on the sporting field. Also, don't be afraid to dress the background. What we mean by this is that if you're able to, tidy papers, move items around on the desk to fit into the frame, just remember to ask first. Finally, double check that there is nothing too distracting in the background that might take focus away from your talent, such as trees poking out of people's heads or distracting signs, computer screens or graffiti. Second, E is for eyeline. You want to make sure that your tripod and camera are set to the same level as your talent, so you avoid any non-verbal communication signals, such as pointing down at your talent suggesting a lower status. Important situations where people have often messed this up is when they're filming children or people in wheelchairs. Also, you want to make sure that when you're asking the questions, that you are also at the same eye level. This avoids them having to look up or down at you, which would ruin your image in your frame. So, if your talent is sitting, you too should be sitting. Next, you want to make sure that you are set up in an interview triangle formation. The triangle is formed between the camera, your talent, and you. You want to be sitting right beside the camera because if you are sitting too far away, your talent will have to turn to you, and from the camera's perspective, it will only be able to pick up their profile. The camera is filming a conversation taking place between you and your talent, and therefore when you're finished editing your news package together, it will appear for the viewer like they are looking in on a conversation that's taken place in the past. Your talent should never look into the camera lens. Next is S for support. Use the tripod. There aren't many situations where you'll need to separate your camera from the tripod. The simple fact is that if your camera is not on a tripod, then you'll get a lot of camera shake, which decreases the chances of your work looking professional. If you don't have the space to spread your tripod legs out, then that doesn't mean you have to instantly take the camera off the tripod. First, try placing the legs together and then placing it on your knee. If you do have to hand hold the camera, place your camera in at your chest and elbows together for more support. Remember that once you have set up your interview, do not move the camera through the interview, like zooming in, zooming out. Make sure it's locked off and still. You can film pans and tilts during the cutaway footage after the interview. A is for audio. I cannot stress enough how important it is to monitor your sound when recording an interview. It is not only important so that you can test if your batteries are working properly, but also because throughout the interview your microphone might pick up on noise that you cannot hear without the headphones. For example, if a lapel microphone is placed on someone with a beard and the beard is touching the tip of the microphone, the only way you will know that that scratching noise is coming through is if you had the headphones on. Another example is if an air conditioner was turned on during your interview and it sent through a buzzing noise. Or if there are roadworks happening in the distance and your microphone is inadvertently picking it up. Remember to test your batteries before leaving the camera shop, because sometimes the turnover is so quick that they don't have enough time to charge the cameras. Also, make sure that if you are replacing any batteries, that you put them in the correct way. This is for the lapel microphone in particular. Fifth is F for framing. The two most common framing references for interviewing are first a mid-shot, which cuts your talent off around their mid-drift in the frame. This is great for casual interviews and vox pops on the street. However, another great interview framing is the medium close shot, which cuts your talent off around their armpits and leaves a little bit of headspace. Remember the interview triangle and that your talent should be looking into the looking space on your camera screen and not into the camera lens. Finally, E is for exposure. When setting up a shot, consider the light falling on your subject. For the best exposure, you want your talent facing the light so that it is falling on their face, not behind their head. Obviously though, you don't want to put them in a situation where they're staring into direct sunlight so that they end up squinting. If you cannot change the environment or move your talent, you can modify the exposure manually if need be. I'm not going to go through the technical stuff now, but if you haven't already been shown and you would like to know how to change some of the manual settings on your camera, see the relevant video on our watchmaps YouTube site. So in summary, let's run through the acronym. B is for background. Is my background relevant to the context of the story? Is there anything distracting going on? E is for eyeline. Is my camera at the same eyeline as my talent? Am I also at the same level? S is for support. Is my camera on a tripod? A for audio. Have I got my headphones on? Can I hear the microphones clearly? Are the batteries working? F is for framing. Have I framed the person in either a mid shot or a medium close shot? Is my talent looking in the right direction into the looking space on my screen? And finally, E is for exposure. Where is the light falling on my talent? Can I see their face clearly? It takes less than 2 minutes to run through this acronym, and it might just save you from ruining your whole interview and having to go out and shoot it all again. So next time you go out and film an interview, take 2 minutes to remember the BESAFE acronym. For a more hands-on experience, please attend a MapsAL session for Introduction to DV Shooting.